Hey everybody, this is XL live 10-minute leaders. 10 minutes into the world, the journeys of people from different disciplines, sport, business, technology, society. And if you're a leader, well, you're only as good as the team that you serve. So today is all going to be about team performance, to understand the good, the bad, and the ugly of team performance. I'm joined by Andrew Ball, all the way from the UK. Andrew, thanks for joining us today on the show.
Thanks for having me on the show, Graham. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, and you're right. Team performance is such a key foundation block if you want to succeed in many ventures, whether it's sport, business, or maybe even in just within your family. You've got to have a strong team.
All right, then. Well, we're going to talk about that in 10 minutes. Not enough time, really, if you're touching on all of those different areas, but we'll do our best. So, Andrew, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
Rock and roll. Let's do this. So, what's on your card first, Andrew?
So on my card, it says I help business owners and CEOs with teams of 5 to 15 team members unlock the potential in their team.
Why do they need that? Is this something that is generally unlocked or generally not unlocked? It's locked away.
Yeah, okay, that's a great question, and I think the thing is many people haven't tapped into the full potential of their team. People go to school and college, they get good at maths, English, maybe IT, accountancy, and all these other things, which are great skills to have. But this whole tranche of other skills, which come down to interpersonal skills or mindset or confidence, which can actually really take people to the next level in what they're capable of. So, for
Hmm.
example, I might be a great accountant, but actually, if I can't talk to my clients in a really great way and have great conversations with them, then actually the business isn't going to grow as fast. It's as simple as that. And I think there's more pressure on this now to have to have these wider life skills, to be stronger mentally and have the right kind of attitude because of the constant change we're living in the acceleration of change. We've got technology which is just going forward at such a fast pace now with AI and so on, that businesses need to adapt and innovate all the time, and their team members need to be able to do that too. And if they don't have the right mindset and they're not strong enough and they're not open to innovation, then the business won't be able to do it, and the business is going to struggle.
When you talk about this to clients and they ask you, who's getting this right? Do you point to an example of these guys' team performance? That's an outstanding example. It might not even be in business, it might be in a different discipline. Who for you are your touchstone case
I think
studies?
you can look. I tell you what, where I like to have a look on is at the BBC Sports website, because sometimes they have really great articles about individuals and teams which aren't directly about team and mindset. But they tend to touch on those things, and you'll find that a lot of the people who've just won a tournament or done very well, it's the mindset which is the key, which has given them that edge to succeed. For example, I was reading about Harry Kane yesterday, and about actually a big thing for him when he was out on loan at Millwall was that he'd sit down in the dressing room after he'd been out training and just sit and think about how his training session had gone and what he could do to improve. And it's this kind of next level edge which really separates the average from the real winners when it comes to sports or business performance.
What's the next level part about that? The fact that they're reflective on their performance, or what is it that the average people don't do that he is doing?
I think you can't. The average person just turns up and does what's expected of them. They just do the minimum required, and I suppose that works for leaders when they hire someone. We hire someone to be a help desk person, so as long as they're there, pick up the phone, go through the script okay, and the feedback's okay, then that's good enough. But we don't look to go further either as individuals or as leaders, um, leading individuals. And when we do look further and look to push people, we can get much more out of them, because I believe many people want to do more than they're actually doing anyway. Most people, even if they're like in like something like a customer service desk job, they actually have got a passion to do something extra within the business. They just need to be invited to do that and given the resources that will help them step forward with their personal growth.
It needs a spark, doesn't it? It needs somebody who can pull that out of people and give them the space to do it, the green lights and the encouragement as well. It gets lost in culture or
Yeah.
process. I love your example about sport as well. I mean, obviously, sport's well used when it comes to team performance because it's quite raw, isn't it? It's there. It's 0 or 1 in terms of the results. I think of an example. There was one going back a few years from Manchester United when that generation which followed Eric Cantona. So you had David Beckham and you had Paul Scholes. That generation of players, all young, growing up together under Cantona. And I think they'd won a game 5-0, something like that. And Alex Ferguson walked into the dressing room expecting to see them celebrating. And like the Harry Kane example, rather than celebrating, they were crowded round a flip chart and Eric Cantona was drawing out the formations and they were all kind of looking at what they could have done better on the game. And I thought, wow, that really is leadership and team performance in a nutshell there, that somebody really is passionate about it, they care about it, and they want to get the better out of other people around them as well. And I wonder, why do we lose that? Where does that go? What is the enemy of team performance? Because I'm sure deep down everybody wants that, don't they?
Yeah, I think they do. I think we kind of lose our ways sometimes. I think when we're young, we start out very idealistic and very optimistic, and then I think life comes along sometimes and kind of dampens our spirits, and we have so many knocks, we like become a bit cynical maybe about what's possible. Um, so I think those can have dampening effects. You do need good role models, and actually I think a big thing is the vicious loop that we can get stuck in where if you're in a negative environment surrounded by negative people and your
Mm.
leader's not very positive either, then it's very hard to break free of that. And that's where the right kind of leader can actually go, this isn't good enough, we're going to do something different, I'm going to help show my team the way forward. And I think that's what leadership is really about, showing them how to
Stepping
break
up.
free of
Yeah.
those cycles. Yeah.
We've experienced a very strange time in the last 15 months, 18 months almost now, since February 2020, when the world changed. A big part of change has been business and how we operate. And a big part of that is this is how we roll now, that most teams now have had to adapt to performing in a, dare I say it, virtual environment, which even seems to be a bit of an old-fashioned term, is to say that it's somehow like a knockoff of the original. So what's changed in the last 18 months when it comes to team performance? What have you noticed in how we're doing it? What's working, what's not working?
I think one great thing about people being in their own spaces when they're working is that they're more separate as individuals, that they're still a team, but there is a more of a sense of self, and that they're not just going into an office where they just have to be consumed by the business as an individual. So I've noticed
Mm,
that actually is supporting individual growth some more. Certainly when we do coaching, it's actually much easier because people are in their own spaces to actually help them as individuals because they're in their own environment. Whereas normally when you go in and coach a group of people, they're all in a room together. There's like kind of a peer pressure situation. People don't want to put their hands up. You get that kind of
mm,
those kind of challenges. So I think it's positive from that. I think it's hard from a human connection perspective because there's so much that we get from body language. Like me and you right now, you can't see our arms,
mm.
which is actually a real key thing to relating to each other as humans, or how we're standing. So there's a lot lost relationship wise from not being in the same space. I guess we'll adapt, right?
Mm.
We'll have to, but it's not surprising if people are finding that a bit alien as well. And I personally, I think it would be good if people still have some long term, manage to have some kind of interaction, like real world interaction with their team, even if it's only on a monthly basis or something like this. So just to humanize things, because otherwise things are still at a distance, I guess.
Yeah, very much so. Great believer that even you need to meet just once. If you were met once, then everything that carries online is really an extension of that. It takes things to a different level as well. Until we all get very much used to this is how it's going to be. It'll be a hybrid moving forward. Hey, so wrapping up, got a couple of minutes. I want to ask you if you were advising me as a team leader, and you've only got a couple of minutes. I know that's a little bit unfair, but life's unfair. And we've got a short time today. What could you advise me as a team leader and advise the audience here as team leaders if they were leading teams in 2 minutes? Where would be, the general route that you could make some significant change in performance? What would be the one thing that you look at and say, that's where we've got to start?
Okay, I think first thing is in day one, when you're hiring people, you've got to start with giving people promises that you can actually deliver on. Too many people I talk to get promised that they're going to have these resources and this team behind them that are going to help them when they go into a business, and then they turn up and they start the job and those resources aren't there. So straight away the person is disgruntled and dissatisfied because the promise hasn't been delivered on. So you've got to deliver those promises of what the job you've sold to people. Next, I think you need to you need to take time and actually listen to your team members. So, you can think of that the interview being the high point. It's that first date where everyone's really enthusiastic, but then you hire the person, you filled that seat, and then all too often, kind of accidentally, people get neglected and they don't get listened to, and no one takes the time to talk to them. So I'd say take the time to sit down with your team members once a quarter and have a conversation with them, a conversation where you, the leader, genuinely listen to what they have to say. Because if you do that, you will connect with them on such a deep and powerful level that you will get so much more enthusiasm, loyalty, commitment, and hard work from them just by taking that time to show that you value them and that you care about them. And there's a whole host of psychological benefits for them as well from just listening to them and really showing that you appreciate and value them.
Great advice. Andrew Bull, everybody, on team performance. Andrew, where do we find out more?
So you can go to interstellarway.life. You can check out my blog there or download my free resource on the top 5 values of winning teams.
Fantastic. That was Andrew Bull, everybody. If you want to go and find out more, go and check out that website. Andrew, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.